Hello, people of the internet. Yesterday, we were working on an implementation of the manual create repo feature for Copper projects that store their results in Pulp. We got it to a barely working state, and we got stuck at the end on an issue that builds were inexplicably failing, and I couldn't figure out why because we had only a limited time. I ran on a meeting and then took a look again, and the issue was quite simple. Since we rebased the branch, the feature branch from main, we got changes that relied on a new Pulp API, which didn't work for me locally because I still used an old Pulp instance in my container. So the solution was simply to pull the new version and restart the container, and then it started working and was triggering the breakpoint we put in the code and so on. But I stopped right after that. So currently we are in a phase that we have for projects using the manual create repo feature. We create a Pulp repository, we create a public distribution for it, we create also a private or the devel distribution for it, and we create the publications after builds, of course, and when the regenerate repositories button is clicked by the user, we are able to figure out what publication the devel distribution points to and point the public distribution to the same publication. So we have everything. I pushed it and CI built it in Copper, so we have successfully passed all the tests and so on for Copper backend and Copper frontend. What remains to be done? Because testing installing packages from Copper repositories is kinda annoying to do locally in containers, because the URLs it generates are accessible by other containers but not the host system and so on. It can be done, but it's annoying, and I'm never quite completely sure if it works or if it doesn't work, or if I messed up slightly something. So for this, I prefer to install the packages on the staging instance and testing it from there, which is what we are going to do. That's why I built those packages, and we will try to build something, and we'll try to install something. And there is one missing piece, because I'm not sure if in the Pulp content directory, if the directories with the DNF repositories are generated based on Pulp repositories or Pulp distributions. If Pulp repositories, then we have just just one, and we need to figure out how to trick Pulp to give us the development distribution of the repository or something like that. I am sure the terminology is used incorrectly in this sentence, but you probably know what I mean. Or if the DNF repositories are actually based on the distributions, which would mean that we don't have to do any magic and we will have two repositories and we can easily use them. Yeah, we can easily go to the directory we want and use it. So that's the question mark. I think it's the second or the latter. So that would be easy, hopefully. Yeah, once this is done, we need to check that the new builds actually depend on the correct development repository. And if yes, if no, of course, implement it. If yes, then only then we have to only clean up the code, do a bit of refactoring and fix the linting issues and so on, and we are good to go. Okay, so we will start by installing these packages on the staging server and go from there. So the server is Fedora 41, I think. Yeah. I know you are supposed to enable the repository, but this is how I like to do it on the staging server, so I am completely sure what package is installed. So we don't want to install all of these. This is source package. We want this one. And we also want the Fedora one, I think. Maybe even the Devel one? I think not. Yeah. Okay, this installed. Just to be completely sure, restart the service. We can go to the staging server in the meantime. Oh, we cannot because we are installing the HTTPD right now. So we will have to wait. It happens sometimes. I don't know, it's running a scriptlet, so it's blocked by something probably. Yeah, it usually gets through. Now the server should be up and running soon. Yes, that's good. This is staging server, so no one-time password. And create a new project. Maybe let's call it similarly, so that we did on the local host. And we want Fedora 42, so I can test it on my machine. And we want to create the repositories manually. And this doesn't use Pulp as a source. That's the same issue that we had on the that we had yesterday. I'm glad we got it soon. So I created the project like this yesterday with the storage pulp, and I used my API key for the local environment, so I will use the staging environment now. Hopefully the API key is up to date. It is. And if you can remember, we had the same issue yesterday. We didn't specify the manual create repo here. So I need to do it in the settings. Of course, I could do it on the command line, but who cares? Now, we should be able to submit a build. If not, we have to debug. Still running. What's going on? So we are having some issues. Temporary fail. This is weird. And my bet is that it is not related to the feature we are working on, as it is typical for anything you do in IT. What does backend say? I'm thinking it is the issue is not on backend, it's in the builder log, and it is temporary. Oh, it is a request error on this. So does this mean that the builder cannot open this address? We can go to the backend log, which mentions on what builder this is being run. Now we can go to the backend server and go to the resalog user and SSH to the builder. And what is going on here? Ping Google, which doesn't work. Wow. Is only this builder broken or all the builders broken? It's a host. No. etc resolve conf. It uses something like this, which I don't know if it is correct or not. Either way, let's try to see what all builders are. And our builder had IPv6, so it was on a hypervisor. So let's try an AWS hypervisor builder instead. SSH, sroot, ping, google.com. On AWS it works. Now, not AWS, we will do this, and I'll put some music on. Okay. Now AWS worked. Let's try another builder from a hypervisor, but not the one we tested. So we should be able to grab by the ticket. Oh, I guess it's already finished. It already failed. So at least we know what the broken IP was. If we do, for example, this one. Oh, it's starting. Up. Ah, God, list. List grep up. I don't know, this one. The IP ends with C1CO. This is a different one than we tested before. Google.com. All hypervisor builders are broken. Somebody should maybe test that on a production right now. But production is resilient enough. It has a big pool of AWS builders, so if the hypervisor builders don't work, nobody will notice probably, unless there is some massive rebuild or something like that. So we can continue working on this, and I will check the production afterward. In the meantime, I don't know how much noise you hear from the neighbors. Hopefully not much. We will go to etc resalloc pools, and we will temporarily disable the hypervisor builders. we will do that. There is multiple pools of the hypervisor builders because we have multiple hypervisors. And the pools YAML is automatically applied by Resalog, no need to restart anything. And we should probably list grep x8664, missed the pipe, and grep yeah, these are a hypervisor. Yeah, we should probably delete all of those. Resalog main resource. There is no tab completion. Hopefully this is correct. And the last one. Now the list. Yeah, they are gone. We should only have AWS ones at the moment. This means we should get back to our manual create repo feature, and we can hopefully test it. And since we put the zeros into the pools YAML, it means that Resalog will not try to spawn a new builders in those pools. So yeah, we should be left only with the AWS ones right now. We already got through the phase that we got stuck the last time. It succeeded. Now, once this finishes, it should get to the, well, first of all, once it finishes, it should get to only the developer repo. So if we enable this project, we shouldn't be able to install the package. We will do that in a container probably, just to be sure. What is going on? Okay. We can go to builder live log, and it actually builds. It doesn't, yeah, it already built. So it doesn't wait for a repository, which is a good sign. And if we take a look at the repos, this is the standard public repository for that users will enable on their system. And there is the -devel one. And this is what we expect, because yesterday I did a front-end change, changing an underscore here to a dash. So this is like a fresh change. And both of those base URLs are working, because otherwise the build would get stuck here. This means our theory about the DNF repositories being generated on Pulp, based on Pulp distributions, not Pulp repositories, is probably correct, which would be the perfect perfect. What I wanted to say. That would be the best option because that's the easiest one for us, and with less magic. And it succeeded. So we can test our theory right now. We can go to... Before installing it, I want to see one more thing. There is too much mess in my tabs. This is pull request. I can close this. I want this. Okay, so I want to take a look at these two repositories. Yeah, if we go up, so this looks good. So this is an owner, this like Copper owner, and this is a Copper project, and in it contains what looks like a distributions. And we have the main one, and as you can see, there are repo data but no packages. If you go to devel, there are repo data and packages, which is already a very good sign. Already a good sign. So we can try to install something from the project right now, and it shouldn't be available. Maybe I could have tried to build something that is not in the Fedora repositories, so we can be like 100% sure, but I don't think we have to, because here I will open another tab and Docker run Fedora 42, where we will try to do this, which will fail because why? Is there some routing issue with... Oh, yeah, this is... Of course, this is a production instance. Quite strange that our staging instance doesn't put the correct command here, but we should be able to do a hub something. What is this? There is broken help. Okay, either way, a hub can be either a Copper hostname or shortcut. So we can do something like this for production, and we can do this for the staging instance. We cannot. Let's take this. Maybe there is a typo or something without the HTTPS. It worked. So there is probably a difference in the, there is a .fedora project.org and I tested Fedora Infra Cloud. That's what the reason was. What the problem was. Now we finally we didn't enable anything. Oh yeah, I accidentally did it on Fedora 40, build it on Fedora 41. Anyway, we're on the same. I'm starting to be slightly pissed. Okay, I copy pasted the wrong command. Yes. Now, dnf install, not install, let's do dnf info add. So we can see it is available and that it is available from the Fedora repository, the official Fedora repository. If it was available from elsewhere, we would see another entry here. And you can see the manual create repo project was successfully enabled and metadata updated, so the project is available. Now, if we click the regenerate button, there is no progress bar or anything like that, so the result should be immediate, but just to be sure, we will go to the backend server and we will tail actions so we can see once it is finished. Now I'm clicking the regenerate button, which triggered the action. So it is still executing the action. It's publishing something. Yeah, it's updating the distribution, exactly. Ended with success. That's great. If you can remember, we had some time sleep in our code that we wanted to properly finish. I think pulling like this, pulling like this would be probably the way to go. We will see. Hopefully it can be done for the because I can see updating distribution here, and we are probably waiting for the distribution to update. So that's sounds like something we want to do in the code. But we will get back to it a bit later. Now we are testing. So it ended with success. We can jump back here and we can dnf info refresh. So it updates the metadata from all repositories. And we can definitely see that the result, the add package, is available in the copy repository for some reason twice. Why it is not available in Fedora? This must be a DNF bug, right? Either way, it is available here. DNF reinstall add, that it's not installed, so install add from the repository completed successfully. So yeah. Yeah. We can take a look also at the here at the repositories, and the devel one may or may not have the package. It will have the package. It will have the package, and we don't care. But the public one should have the same package, and it has. So I would say the feature works. The feature definitely works. And I think the code is much easier than when I wrote it a half a year ago, and before we did our refactoring yesterday, because we basically only removed code and added only a few lines. So I think it was worth it. Now we should probably we don't need this. We don't need this, probably also this. This is our localhost. Now we should probably clean up the code a little and figure out what to do with the sleep that we have in the code. Yeah, we are on the correct branch. Are we? Oh, all the files are just collapsed. Maybe let's take a look on the code with maybe let's take a look on the code with fresh eyes on the GitHub page. So we are in the review mode, not code writing mode. And we are looking for what looks bad, and also if there is something anything that we can remove. So this is just getting names, and this is the init project function, which is called when a project is created and when the regenerate button is clicked. Now we are always creating a distribution, the public one, and yeah, this was just a rename. Now if we are in devel, if devel means if manual create repo is enabled, so if we are in a project like this, we create the devel distribution, and if not fail, here is our ugly sleep. We have to figure that out, and we This is interesting. When the regenerate button is clicked, then we figure out what the devel distribution, what publication the devel distribution points to, and then point the public distribution to it, to the same publication. So, yep, this is good. Now, we have this naming on multiple places, -devel, that should be probably fixed. And here we have ugly error, we should fix that. This command is outdated. Okay, and we are at the end. It's outdated. This, for some reason, I removed, but I think it may be useful. But it has to be like not self-devel, it has to be parameterized here so that we can get both names for either devel project or not devel project. And this is the only code on front end. Storage enum. So this is creating, yeah, basically path to the base URL, which we know works because we tested it, and it has -devel for Pulp and subdirectory /devel for backend storage. This looks good, yeah. Can we document the Pulp issues with devel here as well as we do on the backend side? Okay, so we will put the same comment there, and base URL is yeah, it is now like a variable. Okay, we should start. We should start maybe with the repository name. We have this, which doesn't make any sense now. But I want to put it probably to the distribution name, and we will put, like I said, we will have this condition, right? We will have this condition, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. It has to be after the repository. If devel return, yeah, okay, this looks good, but I don't want to base it on self-devel. As I said before, I want to parameterize it here, which means devel equals false. Now, let's say this is a good explanation. It's not. On backend we use the /devel, but in Pulp we cannot create subdirectories. I think this is a better explanation. Now, we fixed this, and we fixed this, and we have some code to generate the distribution name somewhere, and it is ugly, I think. If we search for -devel, as you can see, we have the logic here, and maybe, and also here, and I don't like that. We want the behavior to be localized. So instead, we will remove this and we will put devel equals true and devel equals false, even though it is an implicit value or the default value for the parameter. I want to explicitly state it here so it is clear. I'm thinking maybe switching these two. Would it be slightly prettier? Now, that was one place where the devel was used, and here is another one. And we can now do basically distribution name. Let me take a look. Is there many parameters? Is there? Yeah, we need. Yeah. So dir name and devel. If we go here, and we can do devel equals self devel, and just like that we can remove this. What is the publication here? Why do we okay, never mind. Is it a new code or not? Publication was here already. We only changed distribution to distribution. No, distribution name was there also. So this was here also. Okay, but we will put a space here. So we only added the response and so on. Okay, so publish repository. We figure out the distribution name. We get the distribution from that name, which is here. So can we use remind me, why cannot we use self get distribution? Get distribution, this one, I mean. Because it just uses it uses the name like this, not the devel one. So what if we add the parameter also here equals false, and we pass it to the name, which will be devel equals not false but devel. Now we can probably on the same place call get distribution. Let's jump back. So this is the place where we call self client get distribution, and instead we can call self get distribution for chroot sure and self devel, like this, which would be our response. Likely not. It would probably give us the pulp ref. No, I wanted to see this one. Yeah, it returns the ref. It should do some error handling, it doesn't, but that's not our place right now to figure it out. Anyway, we can probably just remove all of this, and this, and we can do distribution equals this one, and I think it should be good enough. And the distribution name, is it relevant to us? Is this a new piece of code? It was there already, and the distribution name variable was defined. Why? How was it used? Only for that purpose? I mean, we can... I have no problem with that. We can get the distribution name. So let's copy paste this one, so we are definitely sure what was there, and we will only do let's do devel equals self devel. Let's do the devel name here as well. So I mean, no problem, we can do that. What other ugly pieces do we have here? So this is a chunky one, and the sleep. Yeah, we already changed this. Public distribution name. Yeah, this is only a rename, no problem. So this is the chunky one. We should take a look at that, and we should figure out the sleep as well. So if we look for sleep, we'll find it. And the new code starts is only in the self devel. If self devel. Oh, I'm kidding. If self devel, but also if not self devel. So this is the new chunk. Create distribution, devel distribution name, repository. Yeah, this is okay. I mean, this cannot be shortened in any way. This is exactly what there was before. We can only abstract this to self create distribution in the same way we have self get distribution. I don't know if that's just spaghetti for the sake of not copy pasting one line, 5 lines. Let's go to storage, jump all the way down. What do we have here for helper functions? It's all get. This would be the first create one. Do we want to do that? Or do we maybe put this into the Pulp client? Let's do a helper function. Def create distribution, which would be self, and that's it. We'll take this chunk, put it here. So create distribution. Okay, it wants a name. we'll do public distribution name. Of course, since it is in a function now, we can nicely rename the name. So it will be just a name and repository, which will be repository. This is not a repository name, it is a repository ref, I would say. So if not response, okay, and this not in response text, then it returns false, but also logs. And now we return true. So if it creates successfully, we get true. That sounds good. And is that good actually? Because if we want to use it right now, we need to do self create distribution, public distribution name and repository. Now, if it returns true, we can continue. We can actually do if not, then return false. Do we want that? Is it cute? I don't actually think so very much, because like we are shortening 2 lines and making it unreasonable, like more unclear. If it was for 1 line, I would do that, but for 2, and I don't want to raise any exceptions here, because then we will have to introduce a try catch, likely, which will be even longer. Give me a second. So, how did we decide? I still don't know. I still don't know. Can we? And we also maybe need to figure out what to do with the sleep here. And it may be relevant to what we are doing with the create distribution. Okay. So let's not use this just yet. And let's comment this out. And maybe let's commit every change that we have right now, because there are multiple that we actually want. And let's call this work in progress. And I just remembered in the here, Pavel asked us to put the same explanation as we have in the Pulp on the backend side. So Pulp, no, I wanted the storage. And here is the explanation in the distribution name. Oh, it's actually here. And we can go to complex logic and put it here, right? This is what he wanted to us. This is what he wanted us to do, and that's also work in progress. And let's go back to the sleep, which is in the storage file sleep. Okay. First, let's try to build something using this actual code. Then let's try to do it without the sleep and see if it fails. And this is not building actually, this is the button to regenerate repositories is clicked. We'll kill front end, we'll kill, or actually run backend, and we will run the action dispatcher as well. So all local environment is running. Now we will submit a build. It should go through. Yeah, it should. Succeeded. I'm thinking about the next steps. So we'll test it with the sleep, without the sleep. That should fail. Then we will, and then it will be a bit hard to debug because there is the time variant, and we will have only, like, we cannot put a debugger there and just play with it because yeah, in 30 seconds it will all pass even if it failed previously. So we need to figure out what we are sleeping for, which will likely be a distribution. Like we are probably sleeping until a distribution is regenerated, because when we submit a button, when we submit a request to update a repository, it probably creates a Pulp task which does that on the background, and we get the response immediately. So we will likely have to get the task ID and poll until the task is finished. I don't know. So no. We didn't test this. We tested on the building. Now this tests it. We can jump to log and see if it goes through that action. Action create repo. Handling action. This is our action ID. It's sleeping for the 30 seconds now. I was a bit confused why it takes so long. Of course it takes too long, so long. Now it succeeded, and it could do all of this Pulp communication. And now if we remove the sleep, and I'm thinking, what do we have to do? Just click the regenerate button and it will fail? We don't have to submit a new build? Maybe? If yes, then it would definitely be dependent only on the steps that are in the same function but just above the one that we succeeded. So the sleep wasn't needed. I was quite happy that if it fails, then it's clearly dependent only on this. But okay, so let's try a few more times, and I will kill the action. I'm not sure if I killed it. Regenerate once again. No. I was thinking maybe it was a problem with the URL using a different format and therefore being a bug in the code, and that we maybe incidentally fixed it. But no, that's not the case, because it actually failed and the sleep helped, so that's not the case. Maybe the Pulp image, the Pulp container is faster than the one I used yesterday, and therefore we don't have to sleep because it's immediate. That we would see on staging instance, and yeah, yeah, that we would see on a staging instance once we test it again on the staging instance. Okay, this seems to be working. I want to try also doing a new build and then regenerating the repos, because then it maybe takes a slightly bit longer, just long enough to trigger the race issue. If yes, then we have slightly long testing cycle, because it's a build and then regenerating the repositories, which is like 2 minutes per test. But I'm curious if we can trigger it or not. So it succeeded. Now let's prepare the logs and regenerate. Still nothing interesting. We can scroll. Action create repo. Task succeeded. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Either we change something in the code which resolved the issue with sleeping, or we or the container is faster and therefore we are not triggering the issue. I think a good idea would be testing it on the staging instance and see what happens there. I think we can squash all the work in progress commits together. We still want it as a work in progress though. And should we push it and let Copper build it, or should we build it locally in mock and then SCP it to the fuck it. We will push it to Copper to GitHub, which refreshed this. Now we triggered the CI, so it will build in a second, or in a minute rather. In the meantime, we can take a look at the code if we see any more ugly stuff. So this is fine. We were thinking about this, but maybe not worth it. This is hopefully just moved to be lower. Yeah, the sleep is fine. Why are we? This is still ugly. This is still ugly. How so? I thought I fixed it. Maybe not. Level equals. Yeah, it's fixed here. It's fixed on several places, but not here. That's quite strange. We can do that right now. It's somewhere near the sleep. Now, response update. Oh, this is update. Are we looking at the same thing? No. The fuck? Right under the sleep, we have client get distribution. Oh, it's here. Client get distribution. So can we just if we search for another get distribution, which is like this, and then we don't have any checks, so publish repository, that's just slightly higher. No, that's init project, this is publish rep. Ah, that's why I'm confused. So here we are doing the same thing. We are basically getting... Oh, that's why we are not interested in the... We are not interested in the ref, we are interested in the publication. Oh, okay, I see. It makes sense now. So this is fine too. Yeah, this is commented out. This is fine. This is fine too. This is a change. And that can be a problem because I don't know where distribution name is used. That's interesting that we already had this. Like if we take a look at this dash devel and we git blame this, it tries to tell me that even this line is new, which is what I would expect, but here it shows as not changed. Is GitHub lying to us? That is the question. Either way, yeah, all of this looks good. Now, what about our CI? It finished already? So we go to Fedora Copper build, and this is the build for Copper backend. And I believe the Copper frontend doesn't have any new changes, so we only need the Copper backend. Staging server is using Fedora 41, and we only need to install this package. Install this package. Yep. For some reason the scriptlet is slow. We've triggered that one even before, like at the beginning of today's video. I don't know why. So once this installs, we will restart the Copper backend target to be sure, even though I believe it's done automatically. We can start looking at the logs again. Yeah, and we will try to submit a build and then regenerate the repositories. And it may or may not fail. We will see. what if we do a different package now? That was maybe a good test also on the local host, not doing the same package but a different one. But never mind, we will do it now. So we try to build something. Then we will hit the regenerate button again. And I don't know what we expect. We commented out the sleep. So on one hand, I would expect it to fail. On the other hand, locally it worked. So maybe it will work on the staging as well. If it works, then there is no race issue, because the stage instance, our stage instance, uses production Pulp instance, and like the response shouldn't be immediate. There will definitely be some network lag and maybe other tasks it needs to do. So I don't believe the rest, like, it will be immediate. So if our regenerate button works, then I would say there is no race issue and it's fixed. If there is, we will have to blindly code it on localhost, some sort of weight, and hope it will work on staging. Not much we can do. Are we building successfully still, or... Oh, we built it. So now it is stuck on uploading to Pulp, which is a known issue. Well, not issue, known bottleneck. It's uploading. We have the logs prepared, so we are ready to trigger the regenerate button, or action rather. Now we succeeded. Let's go. Yep. So we are waiting now. Anxiously waiting for the result. It succeeded. It succeeded, dude. No more race issues? I don't know. Let's check the repositories just one more time. So this is the production one, which has all... Oh, it has both of them because we hit the regenerate button. So yeah, that's fine. That's as expected. Close this, close this. Let's say the issue with the sleep was resolved. So we can remove this. We also can remove this. It's not worth it. And what's this here on the right? Yeah, that's our new distribution. Now, if we take all of this, and if we squash it to the previous one, and what if we go to copper here, and if we do git diff main, are there any unreasonable stuff? No, it looks quite okay, and the code is like, the change is quite small. This pisses me off because how is that not changed? I mean, this is definitely not in the main repository, is it? So if we go to, this is storage. Yeah, this is distribution name. This is this function. So if we go git link dispatch in main branch on the origin, and maybe, yeah, let's take the line number, that's fine, and open it in browser. So we are in the Fedora copper, not my fork. And if we go to distribution, fuck me, it's really here. Self-developed. Who implemented this? Why? Was it just like a future proofing before the feature was even implemented? Remove fake jobs and pass. Upload build RPM to packages to Pulp. Okay, so this was just future proofing. I added this condition, or this, before even working on the feature. Okay, makes sense. So GitHub is not lying to us, and we were angry unnecessarily and unjustifiably. I mean, it looks good, isn't it? Let's run make. Let's go to the backend directory and run make lint. So what issues do we have here? Fatal. Wow. That's not useful. How so? Never mind. Never mind. We will do it like this, and we will push. Can we push? Yeah, we need to force push to the branch, of course, not to main, don't worry. And let's go to the conversation. A new CI should be triggered. And we will fix the linting problems this finds. Instead of finding them locally, I don't know why it failed. If this is done, once this is not if, once this is done, and we have all the tests passing and we have all the green check marks, Then there is one last step that we shouldn't skip because the feature is not that simple. We should have tests for it. And I don't know if unit tests are actually very good for this. I would much rather see what we call beaker tests in our project, but they are basically there's so many names for so many slightly different testing approaches. Basically what you can consider to be end-to-end tests. We call them beaker tests in our project because they were run in beaker historically, but they are now just we are now basically just we run a script that does stuff against our staging instance. So they are end-to-end because the builds are, or the projects are created by Pulp, by Copper's CLI tool. The builds are submitted by that as well. Then it does some building and so on the staging instance, and then you install the stuff within the tests using DNF from the actual repositories and so on. So they are definitely end-to-end, but if you want to be nitpicky, I call them something else. I don't care. They are end-to-end to me. Linter passed, so that's good. I think we can like squash this here, and let's keep them separate. This implemented this as two repositories. This changed it and implemented it, the feature, as two distributions. And for like, in the end, we care only about the feature, so we should probably squash that as well and just name the commit like implements the manual create repo feature, because in the end we don't care about those two approaches. But since we are on the review right now, somebody could say, hey, this new commit sucks something, and the previous one was better, please go back. So we want to be able to revert the change, the last commit, but I would bet that's not the case because the new commit is so much better. But we want to be able to revert if we want to. Also, everybody have seen the previous version, so if they remember the previous version, they can just read the new commit, or they can compare. There are many options this opens, and very likely once this is approved, just before merging, somebody will say, hey, squash this to one commit, and we will merge it in the end as just one commit. But for the purposes of the review, let's keep it as two for now. Now, the last step, tests. Maybe we could have even started with tests and do this as TDD, at maybe not from the very beginning, but from some point. But yeah, well, doesn't matter now. But we definitely should be sure that this doesn't break without us knowing. So we have the beaker tests. No, let's search beaker tests, and we have regression and sanity tests, and this is basically the main bulk of the tests. Now, I'm not sure. Like, we have storage tests, which does basic operations. Basic operations on all storages. So that's like creating a project in that storage, submitting a build into that project, and installing the results from that project, meaning from that storage. That's fine, but I want to keep this minimal. We also have very likely some tests that test the manual create repo feature, but only for the backend storage. So we may either copy paste them or just make sure they exist and know that once we switch to the Pulp backend, that this will be tested. I don't know. Let's see what the actual situation is and continue based on that. Now, I don't remember how to create the like how to specify the manual create repo through Copper CLI. So this is held, by the way, for the Copper create project command. Now we can toggle, I don't know, Fedora review upstream. We can change storage, and we can definitely. By the way, we are not searching specifically for devel or specifically for manual create repo because it may be named even differently because there is so like the feature was renamed at least 2 times in the past, and I think maybe it's the disable create repo. Yeah. So basically, disable create repo means create repositories manually, and also means devel mode. Yeah, Copper is a 15 years old project, so you need to count on historical reasons like that for why there are inconsistencies. So we will try to grab disable create repo in our tests. Disable create repo in beaker tests sanity Copper CLI. So it is somewhere. It is in auto create repo. In auto create repo. In auto create repo test file. Auto create repo. This is it. This is it. So what it does is it waits. Yeah, it creates 2 projects. One with enabled create repo and one with disabled create repo. Then it waits until everything is created on backend. Then it submits a build. Then it checks that for the project with disabled create repo, F is disabled. Yeah, F is F is disabled create repo is false, meaning the the repository is created automatically. So F means the standard project, it's created automatically. So for the standard project, the devel doesn't exist. Is there a check that this exists for... Oh yes, there is a check for... we are basically waiting until it exists in the true one. So yeah, okay. And yeah, there is a modify waiting for... Okay, now... I mean, we can do storage pulp like this. And we can try to run the test. Let's go here, make file, there is a container engine equals docker, because I don't like to use Podman, and I shouldn't say that out loud because I will be shunned. Anyway, docker make sh. Yeah, we are here, and we can run the how was it named, auto create repo test. This runs it against the staging instance. And you can see there is the storage pulp right now, which we added. So we cannot say, oh, we cannot simply do this for pulp because there is this wait, and it will be different for pulp. Because remember, in pulp we don't have like backend URL, of course, but we don't have /devel, we have -devel and other changes. So this test would be much better for us if it doesn't rely on an implementation details like this, but actually for installing packages from the repository. That would be much better, but I don't want to rewrite it right now. Also, there was this, and also this. So I'm curious, maybe one of those will be better. This is useless. So run test regenerate repos. Regenerate repos. This does what? URL, repo data. I can already see that this uses backend URL, which will be a problem. Shouldn't provide any packages. Like, this is good actually. Regenerate. Once it's regenerated, packages should be available. Okay, so it doesn't actually install the packages, but it just parses the repo data. This looks quite nice actually. So does it create? Yeah, it creates a new project and it builds hello. Yep. Yep, this is much better for our purposes. And can we, like, how can we change this to work for Pulp? If we take a look at URL, how is it used? URL, it downloads. It downloads everything from that. It downloads every file from this URL. Okay, if we go back to our no. If we go back to, can we pulp public like this? So it points to repo data, and here we have repo data as well, and then it parses file lists as XML gzip. Yes, but there is a hash, and there is a hash too. So I think maybe, just maybe, if we create a project in Pulp and we build a hello and we checked for a different URL. So at the moment, just bear with me, we will not do backend URL and the results. / project is fine. By the way, name prefix should contain also the owner. So public stage can go up to here. We can go here. And so this is up API, pulp content, public copper stage. That's right. Now we have the project that's there. This is the whole project. Shoot, repo data. Yeah, that's, yep. If we do it like this, we should build in Pulp and test in Pulp. Let's go back to the test that failed previously. We don't want to the auto create repo. We want run test generate repos. Run test generate. Run test. No. Run regenerate repos. It creates the project in Pulp. That should be no problem. Okay, while this is all happening, give me a sec. Okay, this is weird. Why? Why? We should already see this one. Then should we jump to the copper staging instance? The project is not created. It failed. Unable to. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's why. So the reason why it failed is because the last time I did testing, I tested a internal Red Hat Copper instance and not the public Copper instance, and I'm currently not on VPN, and therefore it couldn't connect to the internal Copper instance. So now we are going to edit whatever file it was. etc dnf tested copper, I think there is something like that, but that is only relevant for installing from copper using DNF. Maybe let's do it also. But more importantly, we need to change the copper config. But beaker test env bash rc, we want to fix this in our oh Jesus, I'm starting to get tired. We want to change this in our container. I'm thinking, should I open this on the stream and then censor it, or should I just edit this in a different window? You know what? I will open Emacs here. You can look at my beautiful Emacs. I will edit the file of stream. There is nothing like super interesting about the config file. It just specifies a host name. So I'm just renaming the host name. That's it. And if we go back here, we also need to edit the vim config copper, which I will also edit off stream because it has my API keys, even though they are two like staging instances, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, why leak it if I don't have to? You know how the config file looks. There's like that's the one you download from Copper. Now we edited that, and I want to run the test can. what's happening. Like did I change the file incorrectly? Let me take a look again. Config copper. So no, the file looks reasonable now. So if I do like this and I go, this is another window in the testing container. If I curl the URL, does it work? Is networking fucked in the container? Ping Google? Very possibly. How so? So what if we, maybe it didn't survive some networking, like switching networks on my host machine. If we do make stop, by the way, this is the correct URL, make stop, make start again, and make sh. Now we can ping Google, it works. Now we can run originate repos. And finally it's doing something, okay. Okay. So we are approaching 2-hour mark of the video. And originally I wanted only 1 hour, so good thing I don't have any other responsibilities today because it's Friday. But I think we are slowly finishing it and polishing all the last steps, so maybe in 15 more minutes we can be done with that. There will be like only some, it will only take a lot of time now, like in minutes, because we will be waiting for the test results and not actually do anything while waiting. But that's the situation with end-to-end tests. Anyway, my idea is we can go to test storage, and this is what we do in test storage. We loop over our available storages and do the test for all the storages. So we can do the same thing here. And in case of Yeah, we can do the same here, basically. The problem is this won't work on internal copper because the URL is hard-coded. And it's getting too annoying. Like, the beauty of this test is that it actually just installs a package, and therefore we don't have to know any URLs and other stuff like that. That's why it can be like this easy. And we probably skip this whole test on when testing internal copper. We don't want to skip this on internal copper, so we would probably have to create another file, maybe copy pasting this just for just so it can have the pulp test. I don't like either of those options, so we will probably do something more stupid, but at the same time like I don't know how to say it. Anyway, we will test if this passes. It should. This will confirm our code and our feature works. But I won't commit the test changes to the repository because it would require us I just explained it would be a problem for internal copper. It would be a problem for this would need to be hard coded and so on. We don't want any of that, so I won't commit the changes. But we are slowly migrating or going to migrate existing copper projects to use the pulp storage. Oh fuck, it failed. To use the pulp storage, and once that is done we will have to fix all our beaker tests to work with pulp, and that's when this is going to be fixed. Does it make sense? Because well, yeah, internal copper can use pulp too, but will it? I'm not sure. Anyway, why does it fail? We expect packages to be 0. Did we delete the project? Yeah, we deleted the project. That's bad. Either way, this. How is it possible? It had 4. It had 4 packages. Or did it? So gunzip, gunzip, yeah, equals 0. Does this still live? It doesn't. Let's do the same without running the cleanup afterwards. And that way we can see what the values are. Now, I want to remind you, this we are at the phase of just validating if it works. Like, the test failing doesn't mean anything. It was written for backend storage. So I would say the test passing means the feature works, but the test not passing doesn't mean that it doesn't work. There may be just implementation. The test may be just reliant on implementation details that differ, but the feature as a whole may work. So we are just going to validate what is the case, like if it fails because of implementation details or if it fails because the feature is broken. And we may not even try to fix that or anything like that. We just want to validate what is the situation. As far as I'm concerned, the feature is basically done because it's on a review. So it's on a review, and I like that change. It worked when I tested it both locally and on staging. So unless this experiment shows us anything that disproves that, I consider it to be working. Well, come on, it's long now. Take a look at the build. Oh, it succeeded already. We got bunch of redirects. That is as expected. Now, for some reason, this works. And what file are we interested in? Gunzip C. I think there is maybe problem with gunzip. That is the problem. So maybe the whole test is broken because some update broke it. I don't. So what do we call the gunzip on the file? Oh, no. So this is probably the problem. So it's not exported. Okay. So if we go to lstmp project, the project is copper. isn't it? So it's just test? No. But I commented out the cleanup, man. TMP here. Interesting. Are we testing something incorrect? 29. Why is there this URL? Oh, that's just our... Okay. So this is probably correct. There is no tab completion? That's the problem? Yeah, there is no tab completion, so that's why I'm so weirded out about this. Directory named 2. So this is /1, this is /2. Okay, so /1, it failed in the first one. Still confused by the API. It's project /1. So /1, and in that we do the find. So find in here with this name, it doesn't find anything. And if we find without the name, then yeah, this is strange that it doesn't work. It may be because of the redirects that we do, and copper. I mean, for example, this one, like repo data, it has file lists. So we are, yeah, there is some implementation detail that causes this. I think it's caused by the redirects that we do on Copper backend from our CDN into the Pulp content URLs. You could see those redirects here. So I think that's what causes the issue, and therefore we are in the case that the test failing doesn't say or prove that the feature is broken. Actually, only implementation details differ. So I consider the feature to be finished and working. So, okay, we pushed everything. Yep, we pushed everything. So hopefully we are done. All tests passed. So one last look at the code. Let everybody know that the feature is ready for review. Updated the PR. It now uses two distributions instead of two repositories. to distributions, aka the lifecycle promotion support, instead of to repositories, as you have all suggested. To do. So sorry for the delay, I finally updated the PR. It now uses two distributions, aka lifecycle promotion support, instead of two repositories, as you have all suggested to do. Yeah, kind of makes sense. Dull. Okay, that's all for today. Have a good one.